All right, y'all, we're taking a look at this boudoir photography business today. Gonna see if it has BSS for its one main Google search, local and city search combined of Tulia, Texas. All right, so we're in the GBC universe, taking declining boudoir photographers to the number one boudoir photographer in their city. And our North Star, as always, is FSIC, full spectrum intent capture. And FSIC explains why all boudoir photographers either rise or fall. So we're rising, that means we're attracting, we're bringing in people across the entire intent ladder, high intent to low intent. If we're falling, we're missing peeps somewhere along the intent ladder. We're not successfully bringing them in, or even making them aware we exist. So, BSS, focusing here on this, this profile, this brand, focusing on the highest intent buyers, searching right now for boudoir photo shoots right in their city, social search, and Google search. Then our other brand, Boudoir FB Ad Doctor, focusing on BLCS. Right now, we're only working with boudoir photographers spending more than 10 grand a month in boudoir Facebook ads. And that's actually going to be the lowest intent people, in any location, but it's going to have the highest number of them. All right, so BSS is Boudoir Search Sameness. That is when a boudoir photographer has either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. And as a result, if we got 0 slots, we're basically dead, kind of dead in the water for on page 2 or deeper. And that's because we already know that approximately 80% of Google searches are page 1 only Google searches. So they never even go to page 2. So we care about this 80% cohort. This is the bulk of the market. So if we're in 0 slots on page 1, we're invisible to them because they ain't clicking any page deeper at all. Now, if we got 1 slot on page 1, it's also as boudoir search sameness because we're looking the same as every other boudoir photographer. Everyone else on page 1's got most likely 1 link. So anyone going down the Google search, they're clicking us, they're clicking first link, second link, third link, all 10 links, opening up everyone, contacting everyone, getting a quote from everyone, price shopping everyone. And so boudoir search sameness, not good for us. Now, 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google is actually not normal, extremely common, but to have that few number of slots page 1 of Google is not normal. It's actually the symptom of 2 deeper root causes. Those 2 deeper root causes are 1, which many people know about, which is market saturation, and 2, which basically nobody knows about, is the false belief of page 1 equality. So market saturation, it's when someone gets a new iPhone, all of a sudden they're throwing up, Google My Business profile, Google My Business profile, basically increasing and throwing up their website, competing more for page 1 dominance. Or they get a new camera, then they start posting them on Facebook groups. So basically, they're increasing the supply of boudoir photographers where the number of buyers in the market remains fixed, which means it's making it harder for every current boudoir photographer to get clients. A big tsunami when that happened was when we had COVID. So when we had COVID, massive, when people lost their jobs, they still need to earn an income. So a lot of them came out as boudoir photographers, saturating the market, making it harder for all the current sellers. Now, the second deeper root cause is the false belief of page 1 equality. This is what I've seen is the number 1 killer of boudoir photography businesses. It's basically kind of this false belief is assuming that every boudoir photographer gets either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. And, as a result, we, if you got 1 slot, okay, got 1 slot on page 1 and get some more market saturation. All right, we're pushed down onto, basically we're pushed on to, page 2, but that's fine because every boudoir photographer gets either 0 or 1 slots on page 1. So I guess it's not my time anymore. Hopefully they, they shut down their website. So maybe I got a chance to go back on page 1. But no, that is 100% incorrect. Google actually wants to give as many page 1 slots to the boudoir photographer that wants as many as they'll put in the effort to acquire. And I know that because I went from 0 out of 10 slots on page 1 on Google to 9 out of 10 slots on page 1 on Google in only 10 days. And so I know for a fact Google will give the slots to those who truly want them. Now, boudoir photographer with BSS, boudoir search sameness, is a disappearing boudoir photographer. Because yeah, dude, basically we're either got 0 slots on page 1, so on page 2 or deeper. And again, approximately 80% of searchers. The bulk of the market ain't never going to see us because they're page 1 only. And then for 1 slot on page 1, we don't stand out. We're not different. We're being price shopped against everyone who also has, 1 slot on page 1. So what's the solution? We got the solution. BSS is treated with social search saturation, SQ'd methodology. We know this is a solution because we invented it. Again, this is what I used to go from 0 out of 10 slots on page 1 to 9 out of 10 slots on page 1 in 10 days, Google page 1 search. And this is actually the only solution I've seen that can successfully fight back against market saturation. Basically, we saturate social search with the highest intent keywords, so we show up there. And once we saturate there, the outcome is actually that flows into those results actually flow onto Google page 1 or Google. And if we get enough signals, obviously that puts us at higher chance Google puts us at Google page 1. So the SQ'd methodology, to use it, we have to accept page 1 equality as a false belief, which kind of breaks that brain barrier to, okay, what's the solution we can use? SQ'd methodology. And it's the only thing that I've seen that actually can successfully fight back against market saturation for boudoir photographers, because imagine we're in San Jose, California. It's a million boudoir photographers. Everyone's got a website. We're one of the boudoir photographers. Everyone's trying to be ranked page 1 Google, but we employ SQ'd methodology to the max, where we're taking up the first 300 slots for social search on all the platforms for our highest intent buyer keywords, which then flows onto Google. And let's say we're the first 300 slots on Google for our highest intent keywords as well. Well, that means literally the first 30 pages is filled up with only us on Google organic search. And so when we have that, buyers got to go to page 31 to essentially find any other competitors, and no one's going to page 31. So buyers can essentially only find us. So even if there's max a ton of boudoir photographers, market gets more and more saturated, we stay dominating page 1, which is actually where the bulk of searches stop. 80% of them, approximately 80% of them. So whose business is growing? Our business is growing. Whose business is disappearing? Everyone else. Even though the market's super saturated. Now, once you're with SQ'd methodology, we have page 1 visibility. Page 1 visibility is getting at least 2 out of 10 slots on page 1, where we're actually looking different. We do have a GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 though, 3 slots out of 10 slots. And once we actually achieve that, we get an extra bonus, which is for every new slot we take up on page 1, we're actually kicking competing boudoir photographers off page 1, effectively making them invisible. So this is kind of an extra bonus of ranking on page 1, is we're actually kicking a competitor off page 1, and we already know approximately 80% of searchers never even go to page 2. So we effectively make our competitors invisible. But we do want to hit the GBC minimum of at least 3 out of 10. Now, page 1 visibility activates boudoir search visibility for us. So we don't have 0 out of 1. 0 slots on page 1. We don't have 1 slot on page 1. We do not have 2 slots on page 1. Well, 2 slots on page 1 means we don't have BSS, but that means we have not hit the GBC minimum of 3 out of 10 slots on page 1. And we want to hit that because we actually if we got 3 out of 10 on page 1, one, we're kicking 2 competitors off, or maybe even 3. Also, we're going to look way more visible than simply having the people with 1 link. And very rarely will there be someone else with two links, but we'll look even better than them as well. And a boudoir photographer with BSV is a visible boudoir photographer. So we got to get visible. So this is our universe here. We got disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness is caused by kind of the dual horns of market saturation and page 1 equality, the false belief of page 1 equality. And we achieve, or we utilize S-cube methodology. That's our solution. We achieve page 1 visibility, become a visible boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility. So my results using this is my own S-cubed methodology for myself. I wanted to rank for the keyword BLCS boudoir. So came in here, gonna look at the organic, and got organic slot 1, Instagram, slot 2, slot 3, slot 4, slot 5, slot 6, slot 7, slot 8, and slot 10. But we got 9 out of 10 slots on Google here, simply from utilizing our S-cubed methodology. And this went from 0 out of 10 to 9 out of 10 in 10 days. Now the main event here, we're gonna look at this boudoir photography business and check out, see if they got BSS for their local and their city search. Actually, they're in one. This time, Tulia, Texas. I think it's in between Dallas and Amarillo, Texas, but they call it Amarillo. So let's check here. So here we go. Let's go roll to the organic slot. So here's what we got. We got slot 1. We got slot 2. Boom. Slot 3. Boom. Slot 4. Slot 5. Slot 6. Slot 7. And all right, dude, we got 7 out of 10. Awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. We say page 1 dominance starts at 8 out of 10, so almost 8 out of 10 slots here. But dude, imagine, dude, they just kicked off 6 or 7 other competing with the photographers to be price shopped against for the 80% of searches on Google. Fantastic. This is what we want. This is what we want. Tulia, Texas. And yeah, we don't have it's local city search combined. So boom, perfect. This boudoir photography business does not have BSS, boudoir search sameness, for their local/city Google search, and they also have exceeded the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 slots Google page 1 organic search. So fantastic, fantastic. This is what we all wanna get to. So if you are a disappearing boudoir photographer, meaning you've done the your local searches, your city searches for the highest intent boudoir buyer keywords, and you saw you either had 0, 1 slots on Google page 1 for at least one of those searches, or you're not hitting the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 slots page 1 Google search for at least one of those searches, and you've accepted the false belief of page 1 equality is exactly that, a false belief. So now you can, you freed your mind to actually look for a solution to take as many slots Google page 1 as possible, and you're realizing, wow, S-cubed methodology, perfect. That's the only solution for me. It's exactly what I've been waiting for. You're liking the initial benefits, more slots page 1 Google search. You actually doubly like the second initial benefit, kicking competing with boudoir photographers off page 1, making them invisible to approximately 8% of the market by putting them on page 2 or deeper. And you're also looking ahead because you understand market saturation. You're like, wait, AI is taking more peeps jobs right now. Last time that happened with COVID, tons of new boudoir photographers entered the market. So you're already understanding way more boudoir photographers going to be entering the market as AI gets better and better, takes more and more people's jobs. And you're realizing that you not only need these slots, you got to fortify your position on page 1 by having actually so many links that Google wants to rank on page 1, but you've already taken up so many slots that Google actually starts putting your page 1 worthy links and filling up page 2, 3, and 4, because you realize you actually need to essentially prevent all your other competing boudoir photographers currently in your city from ever ranking on page 1, and definitely prevent any of the future boudoir photographers that come after AI takes their jobs from ever ranking on page 1. So you realize, and you actually got to fortify your position there. And as a result, you're saying, okay, how do I get so many links in a short time frame to actually achieve this, and you realize, okay, S-cube methodology is the only solution to do that. You also understand S-cube methodology is building up basically these invisible thematic keyword columns, plugged in, attached to your brand, and kind of like in the back end, cyberspace and the internet, attached to your brand name, business name, website name, your personal name, all your social handles, and there's a big cloud of who you are. And we're building up this like back end AI keyword mindshare, all plugged into this, cloud of your brand and who you are. And every day we build up, add more and more columns, fortify, build those columns out. It actually increases the probability we are recommended here as the one premium option for AI overview and search, which is the most premium placement, and we cannot buy this with ads. And you also understand in parallel to increase the probability that the chat, the AI search apps, AI chat apps actually increase the probability you recommended there too. ChatGPT, Google Gemini, Claude, Perplexity, Microsoft Copilot. You understand that? Okay, higher chance you'll be recommended there. Last time I searched for a boudoir photographer in a city, ChatGPT recommended me 3. I then went and did manual searches on Google and Facebook, and I found about 60 of them. So we definitely need any possible way to get recommended this AI search. And what we found is the highest probability solution that provides that is, again, S-cube methodology, because it's building up these invisible thematic keyword columns. And so you're liking all those feature benefits. You're also liking future benefit of S-cube methodology can help you build a large, well-known brand approximately 8x faster than traditional methods. That's a cool feature benefit as well. And you understand that my current plan is to only work with one boudoir photographer per city. So you actually like that you can get all these benefits and prevent all your competitors from getting these benefits, enabling you to build up kind of this large, massive back end, this large gap in links that are out there that Google wants to rank on page 1, and also these future kind of this back-end AI keyword mindshare momentum for all these AI chat systems and AI overview recommendations. And you've decided because of that, you're going to be the first mover, first one in your city to adopt this, because you understand the converse. If one of your competitors were to sign on with me first, they would actually get these benefits. They begin all these links and backup links throughout page 1, 2, 3, 4. They would be kicking you off page 1 to page 2 or deeper, making you invisible to approximately 80% of the market. They'd be, basically building up this back-end AI keyword mindshare, massive gap between me and your competitor and you. And so for you to compete, you would actually have to increase, or first you'd have to rederive S-cube methodology. Well, actually derive it for the first time. And once you did that, you would then have to actually execute it every day, equal to us. And if you did that, then you're simply maintaining the gap because we're executing every day as well. So the gap is remaining the same. And so for you to actually make any progress, you'd have to double or triple our output to then start pulling that, back-end AI keyword mindshare momentum away from me and your competitor, back to yourself. And again, you would never be 100% confident you've even derived the system correctly in the first place. And so it would hard to be even put in the effort to outwork us 2 to 3x. And after all that, you're realizing, screw that. I ain't got 80 hours to do all this, worry about all this stuff, 80 hours per day. So you decide you're simply going to be a first mover in your city and just not miss out on this opportunity, and simply, simply go first so you don't miss out. So if that's you, shoot us a DM. The hospital is currently closed for new patient intake, so DMs are currently closed, so you cannot work with us even if you wanted to. But when the hospital does open for new patient intake, shoot us a DM and we will see if you qualify for utilizing our S-cubed methodology.